Okay, so maybe we start, and when people will join, hopefully more will come soon. So welcome everyone to Why Study Political Science at CEU session. My name is Justina, I'm department coordinator, and I will moderate today's session. With me today are Maria Tanasova, our second year MA student, Zsolt Enyedi, who's MA program director, and Andres Molles, head of department. So welcome. Today we will focus on our program and curriculum. We will tell a little bit about the department itself, about CEU, and possible career paths after graduation. So let's start from the overview of our programs. Andres, could you please tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So thanks for joining. It's a pleasure to have you here. So we offer two MA programs, one in 1 year and the other one in 2 years. The 1 year MA program includes 30 credits and is divided in 3 terms. So the fall, the winter, and the spring. Usually most of the coursework is done between the fall and the winter, and the spring is the time where you will be writing a thesis. In the 2 year MA program, the first year is you take most of the mandatory classes, and the second year you complete your electives. We also have a few specializations. So all the students who get into our programs, we ask them to specialize in one of the 6 areas we have. There are political theory, social change, research methodology, political economy, comparative politics. And the idea of the programs, of both programs, is to give you some sort of comprehensive education in political science with the opportunity to specialize in one of these areas. So we will try to do 2 things. Leveling the playing field, giving you just a general view of political science. And then also when you write your thesis and through the choice of coursework, you can specialize in any of these areas that you want. I think something which is peculiar to our programs is that we put lots of emphasis in research methodology. That's something that is probably not so usual for European political science programs. So all the students are required to take courses in quantitative methods, and they also can specialize in qualitative methods. So in that sense, we are quite pluralistic. Yeah, so I think that's kind of the main overview of what we do.
Thank you. Zsolt, yes, what would you add? And can you tell us something from your perspective? What do you think is unique about our programs? And just to add that Zsolt is associated with CEU and with the department from the very beginning of the universities, right? University beginning, right?
Yeah, at the very beginning, I was a student, and then I joined the department as a faculty. So in a way, I would like to speak about the uniqueness of what we can offer, partly commenting on what Andres said about credits, because he mentioned the number 30 credits, but it's important to add that these are American credits. And the reason why we count in American credits is that Central European University was originally an American university that only later acquired European status and accreditation. So at CEU, we typically think in terms of American units that we then convert into European ones. And that has an impact also on our style of teaching, our curriculum, and so on. As an American university, I think we are a little bit less formal than typical European universities. The class size is rather small. The way how students and faculty interact is more relaxed, perhaps, than in a typical European university. But of course, we offer degrees that are that fit into the Bologna system as well. This is why we have both a 1 year program and a 2-year program. And it's your choice which one you take. Both are acknowledged and recognized. But of course, if you are in a system where you explicitly need to have a master degree that is based on 2 years of study, then the recommendation is that you apply for our 2-year program. And there you will see basically a similar type of courses than in the 1-year program, but they are tailored particularly to the European market and to the European standards. Now, when it comes to the content of the courses, perhaps one specificity of CEU is that as opposed to most political science programs around the world, we don't have a focus on our own country because we don't have one specific country that would define the university. We are a truly multinational and a global university. Students come from all over the world. Faculty comes from all over the world. We have specific expertise in some regions, but we don't have a curriculum that would be structured in a way as it is, let's say, in American universities, that you have American politics versus comparative politics. In our from our perspective, everything is comparative in the sense that we are looking at the world politics from different thematic angles and not from the position of a particular country. And of course, we have theoretical courses that are completely divorced of any geographical reality because they focus on normative issues.
And about this region focus, would you say that it has changed since the move from Budapest to Vienna? Or was it always the case? And
well, CEU has been changing already across many years by now. So this very original structure where the immediate neighborhood of Hungary played a very big role, that faded away already quite some time ago. And, while originally there was maybe a plurality or even majority of students coming from Central, Eastern Europe, ex-communist countries, already, I think at least a decade ago, that was no longer the case. And we have students from United States, from Africa, from Latin America, from Asia, many Turkish students, many students from former republics of Soviet Union, many students from the Balkans. But it's a truly global university. So if you are sitting in a class of 15 students, then most likely all the 15 students will be from a different country, or not more than 2 or 3 from the same country.
Thank you. Maria, you're a second-year student, right? So you have already some experience. Can you tell me maybe 2 reasons why someone should apply to political science and specifically to CEU?
Hi. Well, I have my own reasons. For instance, I personally applied to CEU because it's one of the best universities in Europe to study social sciences, and particularly the political science department has many courses, very diverse courses. So for me, that was very important to cover a broad perspective. I don't have a background in political science, and that was a chance for me. So I'm very glad with that. And that's one of the main reasons. The other one is the international student body, as already Professor Yanedi mentioned about it. It's very interesting to be in one room with so many different people who bring their own perspectives, and it's an international and global university.
Thank you. So we have Maria here. That is an example of the student who doesn't have background in political science. And we have such students, and it's absolutely okay to have a BA in social sciences, philosophy, or even in case of Maria, it was healthcare, right? So it's absolutely fine. You can still apply for a master's in political science. But what about those who actually did their BA in political science? Will our program be interesting for them? Will they learn something new? How do you think? Maybe Andres.
Yeah, so what we try to do is so I think that we have a nice balance between the comprehensive mandatory courses that students are asked to take and the specializations. And that will help even people who already did political science to advance their knowledge in the discipline. Many universities emphasize perhaps more comparative politics, or perhaps more the history of political science, or a bit more philosophy. What we try to do is to give a balanced view of the discipline. And then the specializations, really, they have a large number of courses that they can take so that they can advance their knowledge. Something else that we do is we cross-listed courses with other departments. So whenever we spot gaps in the kind of courses we can offer, we supplement those with other departments. So we are open to student demands. So if a student thinks that there is a course that they would like to take, we are open to talk to the other department and make it available for them. So in a way, when students get into our program, they have many of the CEU courses open for them. Not all of them, but a large number.
And everyone can specialize. Yes, you mentioned about 6 specializations that we have. So they can choose if they want to focus on research methods or comparative politics or political theory. And also students can do advanced certificates. Zsolt, can you maybe tell us a bit more about it? Or
yes, but let me first continue what Andres started to speak about. Why does it make sense for students who already studied political science to come to CEU? Well, one factor is obviously the quality of the people, and I mean by that both fellow students, staff, and instructors. CEU is inclusive university in the sense that we have students from all walks of life and as I mentioned, many countries. But on the other hand, it is a sort of elite university in the sense that we are part of a relatively select group of universities worldwide. So we have close ties to leading American universities, from Berkeley to Stanford, from Princeton to Yale, and so on, and many excellent European universities. We are part of an alliance of universities that has the ambition to become the social science university of the European Union. So we have been selected by EU for a kind of experimental project in which we are developing common standards with leading European universities. And of course, this kind of polity issue shows up in various ways. It shows up in rankings as well. As you perhaps know, there are rankings like the QS ranking, where in politics, CEU is among the 5-6 best universities in the European Union. And it shows up also in the type of people invited to give lectures at CEU. We have, for example, departmental seminar where almost every week somebody comes from some faraway university and provides lecture to our students, and our students can have a say in what sort of people, what kind of professors we invite. So you have access to a type of knowledge and expertise that is maybe not available at all universities.
If I might add something else, so CEU defines itself as a research-intensive university, which means that the people who will teach you are actively in producing knowledge, in writing books and writing articles.
Maria, maybe you can tell us about your experience in that from the students' perspective.
Yeah, of course. Well, I was thinking that there are certain things that I really enjoy at CEU, and these are like the first one is CEU is very community-oriented university, and there are many opportunities that actually students have also a student life. I mean, there is a lot of things to learn through, there are conferences, lectures that we visit, but also there is always a community around. And that's one of my favorite things about it. And the second one is actually it's not always related to academia, but also the CEU students are very, very critical, and even sometimes when we are out of CEU and still keeping up the conversations, we always talk about our like interest, what we are passionate about, and it's always related to the classroom. So it's this is very interesting, and I think it kind of distinguishes the CEU community and the people who come here.
And Zsolt and Andres, question to you. What kind of support can students expect from faculty members?
So when students arrive, we give them the chance to get a tutor, some sort of a mentor, that helps students to land in the university for the first month or two. So there is a faculty member who will help you to decide on the curriculum. If you have any questions about which courses to take, what kind of decisions to make, they can give you some help. We have office hours, so we spend at least 4 hours a week in which students can show up in our offices. In general, I think most of us, the vast majority of us, have some sort of an open door policy, so students can just come at any moment. They can write emails and we'll respond. The department is, for CEU standard, is kind of medium-sized, but in comparison with other universities, is very small. And that means that everyone knows and talks to each other by the first name. So there are lots of informal support. We meet in the corridors, we meet in the kitchens, we talk while we drink coffee. So it's very open in that sense. From January, so after 4 or 6 months, students are assigned a thesis supervisor, and they work with this person until they finish. We try to get students to form a long-standing relationship with the supervisor. So a supervisors really give support, not only writing the thesis, but also making some decisions about whether to apply for a PhD, what kind of other courses, other trainings to get. So these kind of things I think we do.
And if I may add, we also structure the thesis writing project as much as possible. So in order to avoid that the student realizes a couple of months before the submission deadline that one needs to write a thesis, we ask students to submit in time chapters, and we organize thesis writing seminars where they can share their preliminary ideas with fellow students and with the professor, who is usually different from the supervisor, so they can get feedback from additional faculty members and from colleagues as well.
Yeah. Maria, can you tell us about student life at CEU? So you mentioned about the community. Can you maybe tell a bit more about research groups, clubs, and also like student life, not in the university, but outside?
Yes, of course. Well, CEU has many active clubs. I'm part of the CEU debate club, and when I have time, I visit them. And because it's quite intense but very interesting, and you don't need to have a prior experience either for this club or any other. They're very open, and beside that, there are also research groups that you can join. Another thing about the research groups, for instance, that there are master students, PhD students, bachelor students, so it's very diverse. So you can meet different people from different departments, and even programs that are not particularly in your own program, which is also very nice around. Also, Vienna is a really nice city. When I'm not at CEU studying here, I prefer Viennese coffee places. So yeah, these are some of the really nice things that we can actually use in Vienna as well.
About Vienna, Andres, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to say that for the standards of Western Europe, Vienna is relatively affordable. And something that is a great advantage of Vienna is that housing is readily available. So the university has contracts with some student dorms, but even students who want to rent private accommodation, it's not very difficult to get one. So unlike many other parts in Europe in which there is a housing crisis, Vienna is well designed for receiving a large number of students.
And I will add that Vienna is very international, and you don't need to know German to feel well in the city. Everyone speaks English, and also often in any kind of administration office, you will find some support in English. So don't worry about that. About the careers now. Would you say that political science, and specifically our program, is a good preparation for future career? And what are possible career paths of our students? Zsolt, Andres?
Well, based on the information we have about our alumni, either because they studied with us or for some other reason, but most of them seem to have a decent job afterwards. Some work in public administration, other at international NGOs. There are some who go to politics, but there are also people who just do their own business enterprise or something that is not directly related to political science. And there are, of course, some who just become like some of us here, academics, teaching at universities around the world. So it seems that you can go into many directions with a degree in political science. The type of knowledge that you gain here is not too specific. It's general enough, so you can convert it into all sorts of life strategies that you may have later.
What are the main skills that students will gain here that they can apply after in their workplace?
So we insist on having, so part of that has to do with the training in methods we give them. So they are ready to become data analysts or working as some sort of researchers. And in recent years, we're trying to be more explicit about how to transform the analytical skills you get within our MA to be able to translate them into kind of marketable skills. So the kind of things I think our students get is they are very good at critical thinking. They are very good at making analysis of complex text, because in many cases they have to do oral presentations and they have to write papers. They are very good at getting lots of information in a clear and succinct way, which is available for other people. And those kind of things are skills that are valuable in the labor market.
And is it good for those students who would like to pursue a PhD later?
Absolutely. So maybe too good in the sense that if you think about our curriculum in itself, that lays out a path exactly for further studies, for doctoral studies. And we have this kind of curriculum in spite of the fact that we know that many of them will not continue their studies. And we have this strategy because what we sort of realize is that once you learn to understand in short amount of time, large amount of text, academic text, you are able to critically reflect on quite complex readings, then you develop a skill that can be used outside of academia as well. So although the texts are very academic, there is some sort of capacity that is built there while reading this text that can be used outside of the academia as well. But if you continue your studies, then all these readings come particularly useful.
And actually, we're quite successful at sending MA students to other doctoral programs. Of course, some of them stay into our doctoral program, but we are very good at sending students to the other parts of Europe and to the US and Canada.
We have actually a special guest here, Christina, who is a member of Career Services Office at CEU. Maybe you would like to add something.
Thank you, Justina. It's a surprise because I really intended to be an observer and not to be actively involved here. But I'm glad to participate in the conversation if you think it's helpful. As a career advisor, I mainly work with doctoral students at CEU, but recently, maybe for 1 year, I've also worked with master students from Political Science Department. So the reason why I'm here is actually it's always a pleasure to hear faculty and staff member and also students speaking about the program. I learn a lot every time. I'm biased. I'm a career advisor, so I would argue that even choosing the master program in political science at CEU is already a career step, because this step would influence further your future career, whether you would continue into a PhD program, which the master program prepares you very well for, or you will continue in other sectors. Joyce mentioned that we have graduates from political science that work in the education sectors, in think tanks, in universities, in diplomacy, in different governments, even in arts and culture, some of them even in corporations, so in business. I'm fairly sure that the master program already equips you with so many pieces of knowledge and skills that would allow you then to explore a lot of opportunities and then decide which one is good for you. So based on our experience working with employers, so in Career Office we are very often in touch with employers. They really appreciate the skills, especially the research-related skills that the master program in political science prepares you with or equips you with. So what Andres kept telling about the training methods, this is something that would open doors not only if you want to become a researcher, whether in academia or outside, but there are so many other paths and opportunities where you will be surprised that how much you will use actually the skills that you learned during your master program in political science at CEU. So I would encourage everybody to give it a try to see maybe, there are so much information online. If needed, we can also provide some public reports on career path for CEU graduates in political science. I suggest everyone to just inform yourself, read more, and apply.
Thank you, Christina. I will add that you can find information about our alumni and some statistics on our website under alumni tab. So just to say one number, 72% of 2021 graduates are employed or continue, and 8% continue their studies. So I think
6 months after graduation, yeah, so
yes,
fairly close after graduation, yes. Indeed.
Maria, I know that you have to leave us soon, so maybe just if you want to add something in the topic of career.
Well, no matter what path we choose, I'm sure that everybody who comes here will be prepared. So I will also encourage people to apply to the Political Science Department. And yeah, so I hope to see you at CEU, and I need to leave, so thank you.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining today. And we would encourage you to apply for political science at CEU. The deadline is February 1st, so you have still time to work on your application. Please follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. You will find there lots of useful information. And every Friday on Instagram, we will have lives with students and with faculty members. So please follow and join us on those occasions. Would you like anyone to say something? So thank you very much again.
Thank you.
And have a good
Thank you.
rest of the day.
See you soon.